Hey, greetings, friends, and welcome to week 4. This is going to be lecture 5, and this one I promise will be very short. All I want to do in this lecture is introduce you to a set of ideas that you're going to be reading about in Forgotten Ways and that we're going to be discussing next week, because I do believe it's a bit of a cornerstone for what we come to understand about missional leadership. The Ephesians 4 model, I think, is significant. Because what it does is, instead of locating all the power and the responsibility for the work of ministry in the hands of one person, it begins to recognize that for a community of faith to operate well, all of the gifts that God gives the church must be active and present in order for the church to thrive, which requires this empowering model, this developmental model that I'm suggesting is necessary for a centrifugal model of ministry. The apostle, the prophet, evangelist, shepherd, and teacher. And though there might be a little bit of each in some leaders, I think the significance is found when collectively diverse leaders who bring these gifts to bear can work together for the sake and for the purpose of seeing God's purposes fulfilled. The apostle, the one who has the capacity to lean into an entrepreneurial future, one who isn't afraid to lean out on the edge and start new things, to challenge existing paradigms, to innovate and to be creative. The prophet who is willing to speak truth to power, the one who calls the church back into realignment with the purposes and the will of God, to seek justice and mercy in this world, to remember that as the people of God, we're not just seeking to create some sort of successful endeavor, but we're seeking the flourishing of all humanity who bear the image of God. Then there's the evangelists, the storytellers, the one who has the capacity to share the good news of God's kingdom in ways that are compelling and transformative. The ones who make announcement that the good news has arrived, that there's good news to the poor, that the blind can receive sight, that the captives and the oppressed are set free. And then there's the shepherd, the one who stabilizes the community of faith by pouring his or her life into the community, caring and tending for them deeply, ensuring that they understand the ebbs and flows of the emotional wear and tear of the mission of God and the exposure to the world has upon each and every individual. The shepherd cultivates, cares, develops, nurtures, and nourishes in the lives of those that are called by God to serve his mission, a sense of holistic health. And then there is the teacher, the one who's been given the responsibility to ensure that as we move forward into the mission God, we do so in a way that is conducive and coherent with a meaningful theology that is born of the great tradition of the church, and one that keeps us in alignment with good theological and doctrinal ideas and thoughts and processes, that does the hard work of catechesis, of developing and shaping to ensure that as we go as fully formed disciples committed to a gospel of Jesus Christ, him crucified and resurrected, ascended, and in alignment with the great tradition of the church. These roles that we'll explore a little bit further in week 5, I think all have to be present for a church to thrive, for a mission to thrive, for a ministry to thrive. And all of this requires us to let go of certain assumptions and presuppositions that we have about the kinds of leader that we look for, and instead look to the community for the kind of leaders that bring a holistic approach to the flourishing of God's mission in this world. Next week, we'll explore a little bit further about what missional leadership and the work of missional leadership in the centrifugal model looks like. But I think in this week we have enough with the questions, with the shift in paradigms, with the exploration of an empowerment model, and ultimately with the re-envisioning of what this APEST model of leadership can look like in our midst.